Geez, I should have brought lozenges to read this list tonight.
I'm going to call to order the City Council caucus meeting for Monday, April 27th, 2015. We have one public hearing tonight. If the clerk would read that.
Public hearing number 1 regarding proposed 2015 Consolidated Plan and 2015 to 2019 5-year plan.
Then we'll move into the items for original consideration. Item number 1.
Item number 1 for original consideration, a resolution authorizing the mayor to enter into a supplemental agreement number 2 with Barton and Loguidice.
All right, discussed in committee without objection on consent. Item number 2.
Item number 2, a resolution authorizing the issuance of a revocable permit number 591 to Cousins Restaurant for a sign on the front of the building located at 1549 Carrie Street, Schenectady, New York.
Again, discussed in committee without objection on consent. Item number 3, we ended up combining with item number 4. So if you read that, it just indicates that we authorize the mayor to enter an agreement, which will supersede any previous contract regarding the use of Grout Park for cricket. So we just thought that just was a cleaner. So we've discussed this without objection, or excuse me, if the clerk would read item number 4.
Item number 4, a resolution authorizing agreement for the use and maintenance of Grout Park.
Discussed in committee without objection on consent. Item number 5.
Item number 5, a resolution authorizing the mayor to enter into an agreement with General Electric Energy for fire protection and emergency medical services.
Without objection on consent. Item number 6.
Item number 6, a resolution authorizing a Memorandum of Understanding between the City of Schenectady and the Capital District Transportation Committee for the purpose of completing a linkage study.
Without objection on consent. Item number 7.
Item number 7, a resolution authorizing the sale of 9 John Street.
Without objection on consent. Item number 8.
Item number 8, a resolution authorizing the sale of 955 to 957 Helderberg Avenue.
Without objection on consent. Item number 9.
Item number 9, a resolution authorizing the sale of 1820 Watt Street.
Without objection on consent. Item number 10.
Item number 10, a resolution authorizing the sale of 972 Albany Street.
Without objection on consent. Item number 11.
Item number 11, a resolution authorizing the sale of 30 Columbia Street.
Without objection on consent. Item number 12.
Item number 12, a resolution authorizing the sale of 880 Emmett Street.
Without objection on consent. Item number 13.
Item number 13, a resolution authorizing the sale of 520 Schenectady Street.
Without objection on consent. Item number 14.
Item number 14, a resolution authorizing the sale of 232 State Street.
Without objection on consent. Item number 15.
Item number 15, a resolution authorizing the City of Schenectady to settle a tax certiorari for 1643 Eastern Parkway.
Discussed in claims without objection on consent. Item 16.
Item number 16, a resolution authorizing the City of Schenectady to settle a tax certiorari for 838 McClellan Street.
Also discussed in claims without objection on consent. Item number 17.
Item number 17, a resolution authorizing the City of Schenectady to settle a tax certiorari for 1650 Eastern Parkway.
Again, without objection on consent. Number 18.
Number 18, a resolution authorizing the City of Schenectady to settle a tax certiorari for 1867 State Street.
Without objection on consent. Item number 19.
Item number 19, a resolution authorizing the City of Schenectady to settle a tax certiorari for 1610 Eastern Parkway.
Without objection on consent. Item number 20.
Item number 20, a resolution authorizing settlement of notice of claim 2014-125.
Without objection on consent. Item number 21.
Item number 21, a resolution creating the Schenectady Film Commission.
Without objection on consent. Item number 22.
Item number 22, a resolution in support of the New York State Assembly Bill A-739-2015 and Senate Bill S-4466-2015.
Without objection on consent. Item number 23.
Item number 23, a resolution calling on the Governor, the New York State Assembly, and the New York State Senate to enact the Abandoned Property Neighborhood Relief Act.
Without objection, on consent, item number 24.
Item number 24, a resolution in support of the Streetlight Replacement and Savings Act.
Without objection, on consent, number 25.
Item number 25, a resolution supporting a feasibility study of a microgrid utility solution.
Without objection, on consent, item number 26.
Item number 26, a resolution recognizing Karen B. Johnson as the first woman mayor of the City of Schenectady during Women's History Month.
This will be taken out of order. Mrs. Johnson could not be here, but Ms. Porterfield will read the resolution. Item number 27.
Item number 27, a resolution recognizing Schenectady's millennial generation.
This will also be taken out of order. Mr. Ferrari will present that. And item number 28.
Item number 28, under contract and supply, a resolution awarding the bid and contract for electronic waste recycling to Sun King.
Without objection, on consent. If there's nothing else to come before the City Council caucus, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Mr. Kosher, second by Mr. Riggi. All in favor? Aye. We are adjourned. I will now call the City Council meeting for Monday, April 27th, 2015 to order and ask you to rise for the invocation by Reverend Gawan Roberts.
Shall we pray? Dear God, we thank you tonight for this opportunity, for being here together as your people. We thank you for our mayor. We thank you for the members of the city council. We thank you for our police chief. We thank you for all those who have gathered here today. Your word declares that prayers and supplications should be made for all those who are in authority, that they will lead in a quiet and peaceful life in all honesty. So, dear God, we thank you. Today we pray that you will inspire those who will be making decisions, that the decisions will be made, oh God, that for the advancement and the prosperity of our city. Dear God, we pray that your blessings will be upon every person here tonight, and your blessing will be upon this city of Schenectady. We pray, God, in the name of Jesus, that you will take your place, that God will be the God of this city. God, you will come and establish your kingdom, and establish your righteousness, and establish your glory in this city of Schenectady. All this we ask in Jesus' name. Amen.
And did you have a quick announcement to make?
Also, the area clergy would like to invite the entire public to come and join us right here at the steps of the City Hall on May the 7th for our annual National Day of Prayer on May 7th, 11:30 to 1 p.m. God bless you. Thank you.
I'll ask Madeline Thorne to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. If the clerk would call the roll.
Ms. Barrazo? Ms. Porterfield? Mr. Ferrari? Mr. Kosher? Mr. Riggi? Mr. Mutavaran? Ms. King?
Present. At this time, I'm going to turn this meeting over to the mayor for a special public safety, promotional, and swearing-in ceremony. Mayor McCarthy.
Thank you, Madam President. I want to thank everyone for coming out tonight. We've got a number of things on the agenda. There's a lot of things going on in the city, so we appreciate people showing their interest, coming out, having their input, and just participating in the different things that are happening in the city of Schenectady. Some of the most important positions that we have in the city of Schenectady are our police and firefighters. They're on the front line every day dealing with complicated and challenging issues. And that I'm so impressed with the level of the professionalism and the performance that we see. We see really life-saving maneuvers in delivery of service every day by our fire department, the steady improvement in the performance of our police department under Chief Kilcullen. It's really becoming clearly a regionally recognized department, and we're setting the standards not only within the region but in the state of New York and across the country for data-driven policing and how that we're managing those resources. And we're becoming, again, more sophisticated, more functional in our analysis and our ability to respond to people's needs. So that I compliment the command staff tonight, and it's with a tremendous sense of pride we're here to make two promotions. And I would ask first Captain Mark Saccone to come up. And Captain, if you would raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your full name. Do solemnly swear that I will support and uphold the Constitution of the United States. And that I will support and uphold the Constitution of the State of New York. And the Charter and the laws of the City of Schenectady. And that I will faithfully discharge the duties as Captain in the Schenectady Fire Department in and for the City of Schenectady to the best of my ability, so help me God. Captain, congratulations. Brian, if you would raise your right hand, repeat after me. I state your full name.
I, Brian Heath,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support and uphold the Constitution of the United States.
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
And that I will support and uphold the Constitution of the State of New York.
support the Constitution of the New York State,
And the Charter and the laws of the City of Schenectady.
and charters and laws of Schenectady.
And that I will faithfully discharge
Faithfully discharge
the duties of lieutenant. We have to wait a little bit for the captain. Faithfully discharge the duties of lieutenant
faithfully discharge the duties of lieutenant
in and for the City of Schenectady
in and for the City of Schenectady
to the best of my ability,
to the best of my ability.
so help me God. Congratulations. We have two individuals also who are going to name as firefighters, Brendan Leach and Andrew Condon, if you want to come up. Oh, they're at the academy studying tonight, so that they'll be ready to be out on the street shortly. So if we could have two sergeants come up. Promoting Michael Dalton and Brian Whipple to the position of sergeant. Gentlemen, if you'd raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your full name. Do solemnly swear that I will support and uphold the Constitution of the United States. That I will support and uphold the Constitution of the State of New York. And the Charter and the laws of the City of Schenectady. And that I will faithfully discharge the duties as Police Sergeant in and for the City of Schenectady to the best of my ability, so help me God. Gentlemen, congratulations. We have three individuals, two laterals and a transfer. Gentlemen, if you'd like to come up. Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your full name. Do solemnly swear that I will support and uphold the Constitution of the United States. that I will support and uphold the Constitution of the State of New York and the Charter and the laws of the City of Schenectady. And that I will faithfully discharge the duties as police officer in and for the City of Schenectady to the best of my ability. So help me God. Congratulations, gentlemen. Chiefs, did you want to give them? I did the Red Cross. The chiefs it shows the good command presence that they don't want to give their long speeches tonight, so that we'll keep on with the agenda. But if I could also just turn Gary Stryer and Matt Daly, the golf pro. The fire chief and all the command staff knows, and the public, the tragedies that we had across the street. We had 3 major fires, and the Red Cross is always there immediately, providing service, assisting in the transition and stabilization of people's lives when we go through these tragic set of circumstances. So this year when we opened the golf course, Matt Daly, the golf pro, was able to get a driver donated, and then we had individuals chip in $5 for a raffle to win that driver. And the proceeds of that we're donating tonight to the American Red Cross, and have Gary Stryer here to receive it. Now, most times we have those great big checks, but I found that when you go to the bank, they really prefer these checks. So that on behalf of the City of Schenectady and the golfers, we're proud to present to you $620. And again, thank you for all your effort for your team and the work that you do every day.
Different here, the Red Cross is there to help us every day. When we have a fire, we usually have a house fire where we may have to house and shelter anywhere from 2 to 5 or 6 people. But on March 6th, when we had the J Street fire, we needed to house in the upwards of 60 people. A phenomenal amount of people that we had to take care of. Later on, the next week, we had another fire at an apartment building. We had another 20. That wasn't enough. We kept rolling for the following week at another apartment building fire and had another 30. So phenomenal job, gentlemen. We really appreciate your help. You're there all the time. It's raining, it's snowing. You're there. We appreciate it. And to the police officers and firefighters and fire officers, congratulations. We appreciate the recognition.
Thank you. We're very grateful for this gift. The people of Schenectady and all of you know all too well the work that we do responding to fires almost every day. So we're very grateful for the support. We've had so many fires this winter all throughout our 24 counties. And what we're particularly grateful for is the great working relationship we have with the entire city, with the mayor, the fire department, and obviously now the golf course. It really helps us do our job and help the people that we need to help. So thank you so much to everyone in Schenectady we had a lot of great collaborations during this fire, the J Street fire, a lot of organizations partnered with us and helped us, and all those partnerships that make it all work. So thank you.
Thank you, Gary.
Recess the meeting so that before we get into the public hearing, because for that I have 26 people signed up to speak. right, as I mentioned before, we have two out-of-order resolutions. The first is a tribute to Karen Johnson, so I'll call on Ms. Porterfield to read that.
Thank you, Madam President. Ms. Johnson, could you close the door, please? Sir, could you close the door? Ms. Johnson could not be here today, Legislator Johnson, but because of what she's done for the city of Schenectady and the role that she's played, I'd like to be able to read this resolution. Madam
You have
President.
the floor.
A resolution recognizing Karen B. Johnson as the first woman mayor of the city of Schenectady during Women's History Month. Whereas 2015 is also the 35th anniversary of the Women's History Movement and the National Women's History Project. And whereas accounts of the lives of individual women are critically important because they reveal exceptionally strong role models. And whereas Karen Johnson is woven into the fabric of Women's History National by, in 1984, being sworn in as Schenectady's first and only female mayor with administrative powers. And whereas she served in that office for 8 years, from January 1985 through December 1992. Prior to being elected mayor, Karen had been a city council member for 8 years. And whereas Karen Johnson continues to serve in public office and is currently the vice president of the Schenectady County Legislature, representing one half of the city of Schenectady in public policy decision, and is chair of the Health and Human Services Committee. And whereas Karen's achievements can serve as an example to all women of all ages of what a woman can do. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the City Council and the Mayor of the City of Schenectady pause now deliberations to recognize Karen B. Johnson for her contributions to women's history in the City of Schenectady. Madam President, I move the resolution.
Okay, second by Ms. Perazzo. All in favor? Aye. Okay, motion carried. The second...
This will be presented to Ms. Johnson at the county legislature.
Very good. Well deserved. Our second out-of-order resolution is for the millennial generation, and I'll call on Mr. Ferrari.
Before I present this, Madam President, colleagues, this is our future right in front of us right here. Madam President?
You have the floor.
This is a resolution recognizing the city's next generation of leaders and encouraging the millennial generation to take an active role in the renaissance that is taking place here in the city of Schenectady. Whereas the millennial generation is defined as a cohort of individuals born between 1980 and 2000, numbering 92 million strong, making them the largest generation in U.S. history, outnumbering baby boomers. And whereas the millennial generation is poised to reshape the national economy, having grown up during a time of rapid change, giving them a set of priorities and expectations sharply different from previous generations. And whereas the city of Schenectady is home to more than 10,000 millennials, many of whom are entrepreneurs and small business owners, community and civic leaders, homeowners and renters, professionals and artists, and whereas the city of Schenectady is home to millennial Sarah Mae Hickey, owner of Puzzles Bakery and Cafe, Prince Brav, director and producer of The Fast Life, Evan Euripidu, owner of Anthology Studios and vice president of the Greek Orthodox Church, Kristen Diot, architect with Reform Architecture, Kelly Marr, founder and editor of Schenectady Doesn't Suck, and Elizabeth McCauley, professional real estate agent with CM Fox, and of course there are many more. Whereas the city of Schenectady is proud to be the first municipality in the capital region to host a millennial council, whose mission is to work in conjunction with the city of Schenectady to bring a positive, youthful, exciting energy to the regrowth of the city and empowering the millennial generation to get involved, take charge, and help recharge the community we live and work in. And whereas the Millennial Council, comprised of individuals with diverse talents, will consist of various committees including social, urban, marketing, and membership to engage, empower, and advocate for our city. Whereas the Millennial Council will officially launch at a social event to be held on the Van Dyke on Thursday, April 30th at 7 p.m. And whereas community members, fellow millennials, and interested residents can follow the Millennial Council on Facebook at Schenectady Millennial Council. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Mayor, Gary R. McCarthy, and City Council do hereby pause in their deliberations to recognize the city's next generation of leaders and to encourage the millennial generation to take an active role in the renaissance taking place in the city of Schenectady. Madam President, I'd like to move this.
Okay, seconded by Ms. Perazzo. All in favor? Aye. Congratulations and thanks for all you're doing.
Before I present this, I received an email from Bob Harvey, president of the Eastern Ave Neighborhood Association and Schenectady United Neighborhoods, and he asked that this be on record, that this past Saturday, the Eastern Avenue Neighborhood Association members organized a litter cleanup on Eastern Avenue from the Elmer Avenue Elementary School to Knott Terrace. They only had 5 members ready to go when, much to our astonishment, a whirlwind of energy brought forth 3 more volunteers from the Schenectady's new Millennial Council. The secret was one of our millennial members had sent out a mass email to the rest of the millennials asking for additional volunteers. And they came. If one of the goals of the Millennial Council is to attract more young folks to come or stay in our city and get involved in the firmament of renewal and the building up of a great place to live and work, then it is succeeding. We enjoyed the energy and the attitude of the millennials who worked with us on our project. We look forward to the great things from this group. Thank you so very much to the millennials, Bob Harvey.
Thank you, Madam President, Mr. Mayor, esteemed council members, John Ferrari. Thank you so much for this resolution. Standing before you is a vibrant, very intelligent, very motivated, amazing group of people. We've been working together for 3 months now, and I'm amazed at the enthusiasm that everybody has for this city. There's tremendous love and passion, and it's driving us to do amazing things, and we have lots more to come. I just want to briefly introduce everybody here. I am Evan Euripidu, Elizabeth McCauley, Kristen Diat, Kelly Marr, Candace Burnham, Prince Rav, Dan Malloy, Julie Dalby, Christopher Mastriani, Mark Meir, Jen Dugan, Megan Hines, Lindsay Sheehan, Brooks Bergen, Brett Gatta, and Peter Chrysolite. I think I got everybody. This is just some of our council here. We are missing some. But like I said, it's a vibrant, amazing group. I want to say a special thank you to John for his foresight in establishing this council, for Chad Putman for all of his help and support in keeping us organized and getting us going. We'd formally like to introduce everybody to the Van Dyke Thursday, April 30th, starting at 6 p.m. It'll be an opportunity to hear more from the Millennial Council, and we would like to share with you our plans and how we're going to impact the city of Schenectady and make it a better place for all of us.
Thank you very much. We look forward to all of the things you're going to contribute to our great city. All right, we're going to move into our public hearing. Again, if the clerk would read that.
Public hearing number 1 regarding the proposed 2015 Consolidated Plan and the 2015-2019 5-year plan.
I have 26 people signed up to speak, and I just would remind you to try and stay within the 3 minutes. The first is Reverend Stan Skinner.
Mayor McCarthy, President King, members of the council, and my fellow citizens. My name is Stan Skinner, and I'd like to say a few words in support of the Better Neighborhoods organization and why They are deserving of your support through CDBG and the home program. My time with Better Neighborhoods goes back 30 years when I was asked to join the BNI board as executive director of the Carver Community Center. I continued to serve on this important board while I was at the Schenectady Municipal Housing Authority for another 20 years as its assistant director. I have witnessed over the years what a tremendous difference the work of BNI has made in terms of the condition of housing in the Hamilton Hill and Vale neighborhoods, and in more recent years also in Mount Pleasant. BNI has built or renovated hundreds of units of housing over the span of its existence, offering low-income people a decent place to live at extremely affordable prices, many of these first-time home buyers. Had it not been for this organization, Schenectady would have dozens more dilapidated, boarded, or abandoned houses than it has. As the Department of Development has acknowledged in their preliminary allocation of funds this year, BNI has and can do important work in providing first-time homebuyer education for those who are planning to buy homes in the city, and also renovations allowing disabled individuals to stay in their own homes much longer as an alternative to hospitalization or nursing home placement. This work not only improves our neighborhoods, but it saves huge amounts of money in terms of Medicaid nursing home placements. Please extend to BNI all the support that you are able. Thank you.
Thank you. Jason Plank. And folks, I'm just going to ask, if you're going to applaud after every person, we could be here for a very long time. So if you could perhaps hold that off. Thank you. Mr. Plank.
Madam President, City Council, and Mayor, on the Community Development Block Grants, one of the statements in there says that you've completed all your goals for the last 5 years, and that's false. You have not, and one of them is jobs. Jobs for both minorities, persons with disabilities, and the underemployed. And throughout the whole entire 121-page document, you said one of the impediments to housing is because people have low incomes that are going beyond 50% of their income and 30%. And you said that more than 50% is the most severely case of what you've got. The only way that you're going to be able to improve the quality is by providing jobs. And you have not done so. We've had Erie Boulevard, over $13 million of federal money, not one minority, not one person with disabilities. You've had other federal contracts that you've done. You've even done the community development block grants for paving and everything, and your paving program hasn't done the apprenticeship program. You have a much more stronger apprenticeship program here in the city than the state does. You've increased that. You wanted some goals, but you haven't even implemented that. Another part is that you said priorities are for Eastern Avenue, Hamilton Hill, and Mount Pleasant. Yes, Eastern Avenue's there, but their home ownership rate is a lot higher than Mount Pleasant and Hamilton Hill. They're at between 40 to 45% home ownership rate. Why? I mean, our weakest link is Hamilton Hill and Mount Pleasant. We need to be able to not only increase jobs, but also need to be able to improve the quality of life in both of those two neighborhoods. You know, you've got to be able to uplift the weakest link. You do that, then you improve the quality of life throughout the whole entire city. You give hope. You don't need to hire more officers because the crime rate's going down, because people are working. And that's basically what this Community Development Block Grant. You're giving more money, over $650,000 more to SNAP program and so forth. And you're not moving towards the actual portion of it. And you keep talking about that stuff. And again, we need to work on jobs. That's the only way that we're going to be able to improve the quality of life here. We noticed that when Mayor Jasinski brought in over 10,000 Guyanese, it stabilized Hamilton Hill and Mount Pleasant. It didn't boost the home ownership rate, but it stabilized. And the quality of life came in because they had good paying jobs and so forth. We need to do the same thing. You've got other programs that are going in there, but you don't have any kind of new ones going on. You can see the whole entire list. Thank you.
Thank you. May have trouble with this name. Yemi Ifabayo Egenbrun? Close?
Yeah, kind of close. I like that. Hello, Madam President, Mayor, and members of the City Council. My name is Yemederegbe Ifabayo Egumbumi. I first would like to thank you for the opportunity that you're giving us as a community to represent the Hamilton Hill Arts Center. There are some of my fellow community members who know of me, but little who know about me or my story and how I came to be so active in the Arts Center. I'd like to tell you about the beginning, but I would first like to kind of fast forward through that and tell you a little bit about the story of my nonverbal, autistic, mentally disabled nephew, Fareed Cole. I'm his guardian and often his voice. About 17 years ago, his mother, my sister, asked me to take care of him if anything ever happened to her. About 8 years ago, she was tortured and starved to death at the hands of her domestic partner. That's when I inherited Fareed. What people often don't know is that Fareed himself was also being starved and tortured at the hands of the same person who murdered his mother. Once I was finally able to gain custody, Fareed and myself were both emotionally battered and traumatized. But like so many other new mothers, I had to continue to work to support my growing family. Due to red tape, budget cuts, and a series of unfortunate events, it was taking months for me to get services in place for him. So this is when my life partner began taking Fareed to the Hamilton Hill Drop-In Center. Ms. Val, the coordinator of the program for the children, the after-school program for the children there, and the other children in the center, folded him into the program and took care of this adult-sized 2-year-old and shared with him things that they would normally share with anyone else of the clan without hesitation. And he began to come out of his shell. Ms. Val helped him build this huge motorcycle ramp that he carried everywhere with him. If you know anything about autistics, autistics usually have some little obsession about themselves that they just obsess about, and his is laughter and motorcycles. So it is on his behalf and with his story in mind that I respectfully ask for an increase in the CDBG funding for the Hamilton Hill Arts Center as requested, because like my nephew, many others in the community of the Arts Center not only just find a safe place, but they also find a place where there's family, so that makes it a home for them. Thank you.
Thank you. Sharon Carter.
Good evening, council members and Mayor McCarthy. My name is Sharon Carter, and I'm a long-term resident of the city of Schenectady. I'm also a proud new homeowner investing in the Northside neighborhood. I very much appreciate this opportunity to comment on the city's proposed use of federal funds through the Consolidated Plan process. I'm wearing 2 hats this evening. I'm employed by the Schenectady Inner City Ministry and have been affiliated with the Hamilton Hill Arts Center in various capacities for a dozen years. Both of these organizations have served for almost 50 years, and both address the needs of some of our city's most vulnerable citizens. Wearing my SICM hat, I will say that we certainly appreciate your continuing support of our free summer lunch. I think most of you know that last year was our 20th year providing lunches throughout the city, and that we served over 65,000 lunches. This year, with your help, we anticipate serving over 80,000. Wearing my Hamilton Hill Arts Center hat, I appreciate the city's recommendation of continued funding for Artreach. However, the Arts Center is very challenged fiscally. and I'm requesting that you seriously consider increasing the allocation significantly this year. For me, the most important reason is ensuring the survival of the Art Center is that the Art Center saves lives, literally. Located in the section of our city noted for many problems, Art Reach is a safe haven, providing a free, culturally supportive environment where hundreds of children are introduced to the arts each year. Black lives matter throughout our country and right here in Schenectady. The other most compelling reason is that the Art Center is needed now more than ever. The city's demographics are changing. In the 70s, the non-white population was only 3%. In 2010, it was 40%. Earlier this month, a Times Union article reported that the Capital Region ranks last of 100 metro areas for healthy development for black children. The Hamilton Hill neighborhood was specifically mentioned. Carver Community Center closed its doors in 2013. If nothing else, I ask you to consider putting to the Art Center what historically went to the Carver Community Center. I encourage you to be part of the solution. Thank you for your kind consideration.
Thank you. Sarah Hill.
Good evening, Madam President, council members, Mayor McCarthy. My name is Sarah Hill, and I'm a proud native of the city of Schenectady. Raised right here in Schenectady on Wiley Street, I attended public school and went on to graduate at New York University studying film and theater arts. My career as an independent arts presenter and former marketing manager at Proctor's was deeply inspired by the Hamilton Hill Arts Center and my mentor, Margaret Cunningham. Just a few weeks ago, I had the privilege to work with a team of great people who love her and the Arts Center so much to honor her at Proctor's. And that moment was very special for me and so many in attendance, including my 8-year-old daughter, Samina. The Arts Center has had a major impact on my life and so many of my childhood friends who have gone on to be artists, teachers, fashion designers, counselors, and so on. This evening, I would like to read a statement that I found during my research of Mrs. Margaret Cunningham, a statement written by the late Reverend Carl Taylor, pastor of Friendship Baptist Church here in Schenectady, New York. He served as the president of the Hamilton Hill Arts Center Board. This statement that I'm about to read by Reverend Taylor is still relevant today, as it was in 1977. For me, the most important reason for ensuring the survival of the Arts Center is because our children are the future, and they need to be enriched, inspired, and loved the way that I was by the Arts Center and Mrs. Cunningham. This letter, which was written in June of 1977, reads, "It is always an exciting experience to watch a child grow, change, and discover within himself hidden talents and creative ideas. The smile that comes in the excitement of new are rewarding. Those of us who work and play with children of our community at the Hamilton Hill Arts Center find fulfillment in this. We take this means of thanking all of you, our community, who have helped during the past year through your contributions, support, and service to extend the program of the center. Without your interest, we could not have done all that we have done. Our capable staff of paid workers and volunteers are commended for many hours they have given to implementing our program. We continue to seek your support. We need your help. Share with us as we continue to play a vital role in the life of our community." I thank you for listening to those words, and I encourage you to be part of our solution to keep the Arts Center alive. Thank you.
Thank you. Jessica Hunter.
Good evening, Madam President, council members, and mayor. My name is Jessica Hunter. I'm here tonight to show support for funding the Hamilton Hill Arts Center. I am a member of the group Umoja. As some of you may know, Umoja is a performing dance troupe that learns, practices, and performs dances from across the African continent. Our group meets once a week at the Arts Center and is open to all children from the time they can walk until they are too old to dance. I joined Umoja when I was 13. Before I joined Umoja, my goal was to get educated and get far, far away from Hamilton Hill and Schenectady. I was the youngest of 4 children. Both of my parents worked full-time, and we were more than often left to fend for ourselves. With money tight as well as nerves, I wanted to be anywhere but home. A friend of mine at school invited me to Umoja for a class project. She eventually left, but I stayed for the next 12 years. Any member of Umoja can tell you that Umoja means unity, and that unity means family, and I'm honored to still be a member of that family today. Today I am 25 and hold 2 degrees in nuclear engineering, a bachelor's degree from RPI, and a master's degree from MIT. I am proud to say that I was able to continue Umoja through those years, coming every weekend from Troy and every summer from Boston. I will also tell you that my success is in no small part to what I found at the Hamilton Hill Arts Center. Umoja is about culture. It is about focus and discipline. Umoja brings in children, teaches them about their African culture, and then allows them to spread their culture through performance. It taught me how to control my body and focus my mind. It taught me to practice, to work through pain, and to believe that with enough hard work, I could do that movement, that jump, or that roll. Performance taught me that when I made a mistake, the only option was to keep moving forward. And it taught me that if I fell, I could get up. And that one fall did not make me a bad dancer. It only meant that I could get better. These are the values that I took with me through life. And when I saw what Umoja had taught me, with the support and friendship of the lifelong friends I had made there had done for me, I decided that I would return to Schenectady because the mission here is too important. It would be wonderful if instead of a few stories like mine, you heard hundreds. Hundreds of children that climbed out of poverty and chose to remain. Children that said, I care about Schenectady because Schenectady cared about me. Please consider this when determining funding for the Hamilton Hill Arts Center, and thank you very much for allowing me to speak tonight.
Thank you. Mickey Khan.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Madam President, and City Council members. I am the former, or one of the former, executive directors of the Arts Center, still involved, still very interested in the future of the Arts Center, and so I've come to say a few words about support for the Arts Center. The need, as Ms. Carter said, for a safe, supportive, creative place after school has increased since the founding of the Arts Center, not decreased. Adequate funding has always been an issue with the Arts Center, but when there's been better funding, and there have been times when there have been better programs. The programs have been stronger, the opportunities for the youth who come to the Arts Center have been stronger. We've been able to involve families in many positive ways and offer events that support the entire community. Without adequate funding, the Arts Center still exists, but it's limping along. We have a limited staff, we have volunteers, but not the strength that the community needs and deserves. Right now, we're short on administrative staff as well as program staff. We don't know if there'll be funds to continue with the minimal staff that we have, let alone plan for the future. About 6 years ago, we did a project interviewing Arts Center kids, alumni, asking what they thought was most important about what they had received at the Arts Center. And among the answers, one of the things that kept coming up was learning about Black culture, the accomplishments of Black people, and our heritage. There are very few organizations that can offer that, and yet that is part of the strength of the Arts Center. We know you can't solve the Arts Center's problems, and we're not asking you to, but more money will provide the stability that will help us to move forward in a focused way rather than patching as we go along. So I ask you to think very carefully and support the Art Center to the utmost. Thank you.
Thank you. Michelle Bergeron.
Mr. Mayor, President King, and council members, I didn't write anything because what I have to say comes from my heart. I have been a member of Hamilton Hill my entire life. That's been 55 years, with the exception of the time that I served in the military overseas. In any community, you need a foundation. That foundation for us is the Hamilton Hill Art Center. Today, I stand before you as our interim board president, and I ask you to please consider helping us to build that foundation back to where it used to be. There are many lives at stake. There are many young people who wander, but the only place they have to go is Miss Val and the Art Center. The Art Reach program that is provided there gives them that sense of consistency that many of them do not have at home. There are times when you will watch them walk down the street and they'll wonder, what is that place? And they come inside and they sit with Miss Val, where she gives them value, she gives them morals. My family has been strong. I've raised 4 children in Hamilton Hill, my husband, Hal, and myself. We do Bergeron Halloween hot dogs, something we've done for 20 years with the help of the Hamilton Hill Art Center. And when they have nothing, they volunteer their time for us. The kids look forward to coming over and enjoying that hot dog. That may be the only meal they have. What Ms. Val gives them for a snack, that may be the only meal that they have. I implore you to be part of what it takes to lay that foundation for the Hamilton Hill Art Center. Thank you.
Thank you. Marcia Mortimer.
Good evening, Madam President, Mayor, and City Council members. I'm here on behalf of a former Hamilton Hill Art Center participant. He says, to the members of the Schenectady City Council, my name is Bernard Carey, and I'm writing this letter of support for increased funding for the Hamilton Hill Art Center. For those of you who don't know my story, the Art Center was the most pivotal community resource in the Hamilton Hill community. First of all, it was a safe haven for me and my friends. There was always places for us to play, such sports, such as the Carver Community Center, the Boys Club, Little League, and football. But quite frankly, I was always curious about other things than sports. So living on the Hill, my mother would always allow me to go to the Art Center since it was in the community. The programs the center offered turned me on to the arts. For the first time in my life, I was learning to use the arts as a means of expression. In essence, the Art Center was literally the institution that facilitated intellectual curiosity for me to become the person I am today. I don't say this lightly. I give all the accolades to the Art Center, an organization that saw something else in me besides sports. Not only was I introduced to things that were not always available in my community, I was mentored to and even obtained my first job as a janitor. I humbly request that you would find it in your budget to support additional funding for the Art Center. The Art Center is the only community organization left on Hamilton Hill. I know that there are lots of young Bernards growing up on the Hill that could utilize the services the center has to offer. Let's provide them with the same opportunities I had as an impressionable youth growing up in Hamilton Hill. In closing, in addition to my parents, I also attribute my success in college to the Art Center and can proudly say that my son and I are the first African-American father and son team to graduate from Union College. Thank you. Bernard Carey, Masters.
Thank you. Shirley Radine.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Madam President, and members of the Council. I'm here tonight to speak in support of the Schenectady Basketball Club. Now, I know this is a new proposal to the Consolidated Plan process. And to me, the amount that has been requested is, in the larger scheme of things, relatively small, $10,000. It's important to note that this club is largely a volunteer effort And so the need for this small amount of funding is just to stabilize the program. This club provides an after-school and an off-the-streets activity for young people, mostly African-American males, and yes, some females. The Times-Union in the past month, as was referred earlier, featured an article showing that by formal analysis, this metropolitan area ranks at the bottom 100 of the 100 largest in the United States in terms of opportunity for African American youth. This program that I'm speaking of, the Schenectady Basketball Club, provides opportunity. The club is not just recreational. Volunteer leaders and coaches provide formal life skills and training and mentoring. The club is known for a high level of proficiency in the leagues and is well regarded among the athletic teams. The program is incorporated, and it's now working on its tax-exempt status and plans to be fully independent in the next year. Now, I recognize that the major item in the public service category is listed as community policing at almost $165,000. Schenectady only has an incident-based policing, not community policing. And to me, it seems it would be better to prevent the need for policing by solid activities for youth rather than paying for more police. This allocation for policing only pays for a portion of the salary of a few officers and does not, quote unquote, buy community policing. So I would ask you to think about perhaps rethinking the opportunity to provide funding for the Schenectady Basketball Club, and I thank you for my opportunity to speak.
Thank you. Sheila Long.
Good evening, Mayor McCarthy and Madam, and church council members. My name is Sheila Long. I'm a senior citizen and reside here in the city of Schenectady, New York. I'm here to speak about the opportunity that I was able to buy a home here from Better Neighborhoods a long time ago before they had workshops. It allowed me to buy the home without any money. I had been living in the home since September 15, 1983. Imagine that, 31 years and 7 months. I am now a widow. 1983, I moved 4 times in that same year. I had 5 children at the time, 3 foster children, my husband and myself. Nobody wanted to rent to us. And when they did rent to us, it was houses that were not dilapidated inside. The outside looked just as poor. And I looked at my husband and said, let's work on the outside first and then go on the inside, because he was a carpenter and had worked for 42 years in the construction world, and I'm very creative. After we did that and moved 4 times, I said I had enough. And someone said, there's a house Better Neighborhoods owns, and was around the corner. I walked around the corner, looked at the house. Next to it was a dump. It was a city dump, cars, refrigerators. And my husband said, if you can get that lot, you can have that house. I went to Better Neighborhoods, talked to Ed August, and he said, okay, let's see what we can do. I said, let me start and be truthful to you. I have no money. I don't have a down payment. I don't have a penny. And so he wrote everything in my application so I could afford this home. Better Neighborhoods makes home ownership dreams come true for those that really cannot afford it. They give workshops. However, you need to understand one thing. It puts houses back on the tax roll. You say you have no money. Get your money from those homes. They build them, they rehab them. My house in itself, I called Ed and said, the floors are creaking. I don't understand what's wrong with this house. He came and put, I forgot, what is it called, lobby columns in it. That will be there when I'm gone. He went and put archways in because the door over here came from the kitchen, the door over here came from the living room. I'm like, I can't work with this. I can't hear my husband. So he put an archway in. Then I looked at the other side, and I'm like, there's 2 doorways here. Why? He put an archway there. And then I said, throw a door so I can get upstairs and not go outside. He also is going to try to help me to get a chairlift in my cellar because I have fallen 4 times in Schenectady.
Ms. Long, I need you to summarize.
I also was creative in opening that shop with the building burnt on J Street. I had the playroom called Creative Play for Children in the city, and I took care of the proprietor's children for 2 hours a day. I also brought a boarded-up house 2 doors away from me to improve the city's looks. So Better Neighborhoods needs your money to continue giving homes to the needy.
Thank you. George Warner.
Madam President, Mr. Mayor, City Council members, up until December of 2014, I had been on the Board of Directors at the Hamilton Hill Arts Center for 9 years. And I just want to say that in those 9 years, the sparkle that you would see in the eyes of these children when they come into Miss Val and when they leave. They were well disciplined. Everybody said, oh, they're so bad, they're running up and down the block. Not at the Art Center. But I just want to say, if you have heard from a few previously about how they came up, the letter from Bernard Carrie and the sister Jessica, it goes to show if we just pay attention a little bit more to nature, we always see the grandeur of the trees and their majesty when they grow and when they become so tremendous. One thing we got to remember, just like the small art center, the root of that tree goes down longer before you see what you marvel at. Thank you.
Thank you. Reverend Phil Grigsby.
Good evening. Appreciate the opportunity to speak before the council and the mayor on the Consolidated Plan and allocations for this year. I want to read this because, in the interest of time, I have other comments to share with you. I am Reverend Phil Grigsby, Director of the Schenectady City Ministry and a city resident, homeowner, and taxpayer. Thank you for this opportunity to speak on the plan before you. The budget always has difficult choices. We are still in a very challenging fiscal times, and you have difficult choices to make. I want to make brief comments on SICM's 4 applications and then a few comments on other areas. 3 minutes is too short for something that covers 5 years, so my comments on the longer portion are in writing, since this year's comments will take up the time. Summer is coming, despite the snow we saw last week, and all of us involved with the summer lunch program appreciate the city's continued partnership to support feeding hungry children. For too many, it is the first meal of the day, and for some, it is the only meal. With your help last year, we provided a record of over 65,000 lunches. We are planning on more sites for this year, and with your help, we can keep moving in that direction. As I did last year, I want to ask the council members and the mayor to consider coming together on a day to distribute lunch. We operate with volunteer teams at most sites and provide the lunch for you to give out. Please consider it as a way to get away from another committee meeting. We also put in renovations for 837 Albany Street that was owned by the city, but we've been fortunate to get some resources for that since we applied. Similarly, with the HCSA pilot program, which was not recommended. We were glad to see the food security on an issue as part of the 5-year plan. You may have seen the recent article in the Times-Union about this project. We are starting with Fox Creek Farm. As with the previous ones, we believe we have another resource to provide for this. We put in also for the Santee Basketball Club, which is not our program, but we are involved as the fiscal agent. And we believe this is a very important community effort. I and others will ask for your consideration of adding this to the plan this year. Others have spoken very eloquently on this. Let me only add that this basketball program is making a real difference and needs to be sustained and supported. The other areas on this recommendation, I ask your reconsideration for additional support of the Hamilton Hill Arts Center, has also been eloquently spoken. I share the concern for supporting affordable housing programs, especially additional amounts for housing counseling because they are below last year. Finally, this year's recommendation continues the city's practice of utilizing relatively scarce public service funds for what is called community policing. My comment here is not about the SPD or anyone in it. I greatly appreciate the leadership and commitment of the SPD now as opposed to some years ago. We don't have time for a trip down memory lane. It appears that all is in the proposed budget is an allocation of $164,000 towards the salaries of 4 officers who work in CDBG eligible areas. The regular city budget should support public safety. I encourage the city to remove this item and remove a neighborhood stabilization category, incorporate those in the public service category, and then have the resource for additional allocations in ways that what many commonly would see as public service. The other comments are before you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Frank Gilmore.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Council President, and City Council. This morning, I, as a member from the inception of the Mayor's Homes Task Force, visited the Santa Fe Street to listen to pending legislation, the Mayor's eloquent speak, and the state legislators talking about the zombie houses and how banks don't seem to be interested in either reselling them or repairing them, and owners, out of frustration or lack of resources, walk away. I'm representing BNI. As part of the Homes program, we worked with that wonderful organization and created a brand new house that is under construction as a modular, pre-engineered structure for Foster Avenue being built by the Boseys. They do foreclosure counseling. They do construction. I would strongly urge, because they were recently welcomed as a partner to the Homes program a couple months ago, that we seriously engage them in the expertise that they have shown for 49 years, repairing houses, providing foreclosure counseling and home management, and working with banks, which they've done very successfully in helping people of modest means buy homes, which they have built, and they have done hundreds of them. So I would urge that we create a public-private partnership that will be very fruitful for the current program of zombie houses. Thank you.
Thank you. Dominic D'Agostino.
Good evening, Mayor, Madam President, Council members. I'm here to speak tonight in support of the Hamilton Hill Arts Center, which has been in existence for over 50 years. The Arts Center has provided culturally supportive programs and creative programs, and has also allowed our youth to be introduced to the arts. I want to speak to you very quickly from 2 perspectives, one from a law enforcement perspective, and also that from the perspective of a former youth center director myself. From the perspective of a youth center director, the most critical times of a youth's day is the unsupervised time from the time they leave school to the time they either re-engage into a structured program or reconnect with their family. If there is a large gap in that time period, we are exposing our youth to undesirable elements and negative influences which inevitably impact the growth in the nurturing of their youth. From a law enforcement perspective, the data shows that after-school programs and arts programs reduce delinquency and truancy and increase overall academic performance with our at-risk youth. I know budgets are tight. As a steward of a $15 million plus budget at the Sheriff's Office, I can appreciate that, and we all want to be judicious with the monies that we oversee. I would suggest and submit to all of you to view any financial support that you give to the Art Center or any after-school program or youth program as an investment and not as an expense, okay? And that investment will pay off in the form of putting our children in the best possible position to be successful. In closing, I want to share a conversation that I had with an individual that I have quite a bit of respect for about 5 years ago. Former police superintendent, state police superintendent Harry Corbett. I had the opportunity and occasion to have lunch with him to discuss a gang program. And the one thing he left me with, he said to me, "Son, you want to make a difference in the urban community?" He said, "I'm going to say 3 things to you. Programs, programs, and programs." So I thank you very much for the opportunity to bring this to your attention tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Sheriff. Vincent Kittle. Vincent Kittle. No? Okay. Walter Simpkins. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, Walter, hold on. He's here.
I apologize. I'm short. So I know you couldn't see me. I just want to say thank you for allowing me a few minutes of your time, and I'm really going to just take a few minutes of it because I have some young men behind me that I think you really want to hear from. I'm here on behalf of the Ring of Hope Boxing and Fitness Club. I know what it sounds like, but as some of you know, it's much more. We engage with a program called the Peaceful Warriors, which we take right out of the Schenectady High School. We bus them in to the gym, and we train, mentor, and fellowship with these young high school students at our location in the Crosstown Plaza. I too am here because we are in need of funding. There is zero funding for the Peaceful Warrior program, and yet we've ran it for the last 3 years. To some of y'all that might say, well, if you've done it that long, you could probably do it for another few more. But the truth be told is that our resources are drying up, and it is becoming extremely hard to continue. So I'm going to relinquish my time. The 2 gentlemen from the Peaceful Warriors, I think, are 1 or 2 names behind me because they were being the respectful young people that they were taught to be, and they stepped aside so that some others could put their name on the pad. But I just want to leave in your mind that as the rest of these organizations are doing, we too are trying to reach out to our youth. We're dealing with the older population. We're talking that 15 to 22-year-old bracket, which is very difficult. There's not very many safe havens for that particular age group. But our particular sport is one that has some street credibility. It's okay for you to be in a boxing gym. You know, that's not like, you know, being on a swimming team. So we deal with an older group, but these are the groups that we should be focusing on. I digress because our youth is very important. But we do have a problem with that age group, and we are at the Schenectady Ring of Hope trying to address it. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Walter Simpkins.
I was one of those that the young men let come and sign up first. First, let me say to the mayor and to the Madam President and the council, I thank you again for the opportunity to allow everybody to come out and talk. because as I sit here, I'm learning about some programs and some things going on that I hadn't even heard of. And so, you know, it just gives you the richness of what we have to offer. And if we can start to put the money where we need it to in the direction of some of the youth and the youth programs, this would be a great thing. I know that everybody's under pressure in terms of money, and I'm going to tell you something. I got a lot of respect for the politicians today because I got thrown under the bus. I said I was coming here to speak for the Arts Center, and everybody was starting to talk like I was going against another program. Shane, if you're listening, I don't know what they were talking about. But the Boys and Girls Club is an important aspect of our community, just like the other programs. But I'm going to tell you something. Art and culture is very important. I'm not a part of the millennials. You know, they were up here today, but I'm from the baby boomers. And I can tell you that it was the death of Martin Luther King that started me being interested in black history and getting into culture and what the culture meant. And from there, I went on to the City College of New York and got a bachelor's degree in black history. And I've also have a master's degree in Africana Studies from SUNY Albany. And what I found was by people understanding who they are and what their potentials are, it can take them to places that they never dreamed of going. What we have here is we have a mind and a scarcity issue in our community. We get a scarcity issue about who gets money. So if one program gets money, the other program doesn't. And what we have to do is we have to change that up because everybody deserves something. We have to sometimes rearrange the allocations and what we feel is important. And if we don't feel that our youth is important, we're going to be lost. I'm already on a thing about the $62 million that the state is not giving the Board of Education of Schenectady. And they gave $5 million, and everybody's talking like, now you got $5 million, and so you ought to be happy. When the reality is you're holding back to $62 million. So what does that mean? You know, I'm on welfare, so I should be able to deal with the welfare check I got, and don't worry about getting a job because you're getting money. We have to change the mentality. And the Hamilton Hill Arts Center is why I'm here. I was the president of the board of directors for the Arts Center for a number of years. And I'm telling you, I never saw anything, to me, as glorious as what I saw happen there for myself as well as for the youth. So I just say, please consider culture, because this is going to be an entertainment and capital center of the Capital District as far as I'm concerned. That's what Schenectady is about. Thank you.
Thank you. Pat Acox.
Good evening. My name is Pat Acox. Madam President, Mr. Mayor, and council members, thank you for allowing us all to speak. I'm here on behalf of the Hamilton Hill Arts Center. As a past president of the board, and during my tenure, we were lucky enough to have a lot more money allocated to the CDBG grant. I know your funds are tight, but I would like to see us get back to some of those days when we could offer so much more to those children than we can now. They need it and they deserve it. And I was sitting here tonight listening to all the other people who spoke about the Arts Center, saying all the things that I would have liked to say. And I thought, after watching everything that went on before we started this section, this part of the evening, everybody talking about the wonderful things that are happening in Schenectady, which is true, and what a great city Schenectady is, which is also true. I love Schenectady, and I'm been here for many years now, and I'm really happy, and my husband and I love being in Schenectady, and we support the Arts Center as much as we are able financially. But then it occurred to me, a great city needs to take care of the least of those who can take care of themselves. And those are the children that we are talking about, whose parents cannot give them many of the things that other parents in this city can, and the wonderful things that they can learn, the safety that is there at the Arts Center. Those children have a place to go, to be safe, to learn, to play, and to learn a lot more about the world than what they see on the Hamilton Hill. So I would urge you, please, as much as you can come up with, I know again, that your funds are tight, but this art center and these children deserve as much as they can possibly get. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Sean Burke.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and all. Hello. My name is Sean Burke, and I'm a sophomore at Schenectady High School. I'm a participant in the Ring of Hope Boxing Club, sponsored by Coach Vincent Kittle. And as he said, it is a program with no funding, and it's something that's worth keeping going. Honestly, every student who stepped in that boxing gym and in that ring, it changed them. It really did. Because if you can step in a ring with someone that you know, go a few rounds, take a few blows, give a few, and step out and talk about it and talk what you did wrong and what you did good, it's something that bonds you. It's something that I did with my friend Gino Davis back there, and it really brought us together. I really, really do enjoy this club, as do every single other student that stepped in it. It's something that changes students. It's not just boxing. It's a way of life. It teaches you hard work and dedication. It's something that they say in the gym. And before I stepped in the gym, it was just 2 words in my vocabulary. But now it's something that means something. It's very amazing. Thank you. That's all.
Thank you. Is it Talal McDuffie?
Good evening. I am here on the behalf of the Peaceful Warriors, or the Ring of Hope, and I'm asking you guys to really help us out. As we said, we have 0 funds, and this is something that really disciplines everybody who steps in there. Me, I have issues. I had issues. In the past, I probably had more referrals than we have lights in this room. I've been a delinquent, and this program really changed me. Now I haven't had a referral since I started high school, and I'm a sophomore now at Schenectady High School. This is really something you guys should invest in, and if you do, together, we will make a difference. Thank you.
Thank you. Deborah Bounds.
My name is Deb Baumis. I've been a Schenectady resident my whole life, and I'd like to thank Mayor McCarthy and Madam President and you on the council for your dedication to your city, as well as the opportunity to speak here tonight. I want to tell you a story. Some 35 years ago, a single woman who was expecting a baby was looking for an affordable apartment to rent that was not on the 3rd floor. Anyone that's been a parent knows what it's like to bring a baby carriage in 1 floor, let alone 3. A friend who was in real estate business said, "Why don't you look for a home to buy?" And the woman said, "Me? I can't buy a home." And the real estate woman said, "Why not?" The short version of this story is that the woman who was expecting did buy a home, and it changed her life. She went from being a renter to a homeowner. Her self-esteem was boosted. Her stability in the community was more secure. How many people here remember the first home you bought, the butterflies that you experienced, the fears and concerns that you had as you committed your name to the paper before on the closing? This is just one thing that BNI has done over the years. We have been telling people who would not even think of owning a home, why not? Why not look for a home of your own? Why not rent? Why not build equity? Why not buy a piece of Schenectady to claim as your own? You are the best landlord you'll ever have. Tonight, I'm speaking to you as president of BNI Board. I was that woman 35 years ago. I still own my home today. Since 2002, BNI has provided information about being a homeowner financial counseling necessary to achieve that goal, and we have encouraged 368 first-time home buyers. Since 2002, we have also prevented 215 home foreclosures and have been successfully counseled hundreds more when they have been in financial distress. Since 2002, we have constructed or rebuilt 134 housing units and have served almost 1,500 clients. The positive change in this city is a direct testimony to the mayor's office and the city council recognizing that something needed to be changed in these areas, and the money provided to these programs, along with the dedication of BNI's employees, board of directors, and many volunteers over the year, has made this happen. Let's not go backwards. Without homeowners who actually live in their home in the neighborhood, the area will be run down. We know how the city has suffered with slum landlords over the years and boarded up buildings. We need to continue to focus on home ownership. Please continue to provide that $17,000, the money we need to create in the minds of people the dream of their first home.
Please summarize.
The dream in which many of them don't even know they are qualified for. Home ownership is the answer to stability of the individual in the city. Thank you for restoring this money to the budget.
Thank you. Nancy Johnson and Lynn Vincent.
Hi, I'm Nancy Johnson. I am with YWCA Northeastern New York, and I'm Youth and Family Services Director. And we want to thank you for letting us come and thank you for the Consolidated Plan and supporting the Front Street Pool. The YW has been running and operating that pool since 1997, and Lynn Vincent, is our coordinator this year, and she's going to tell you all about our fabulous pool.
The pool's more about just a place to go and swim. It's more about entertainment. In a city where we live right on a river, and on a city where inflatable pools and quick setup pools are a dime a dozen and all over the place, it is imperative to have our city pools and to have the Front Street Pool, to give our youth a place to learn to swim for free, to give them a place to go and swim where they're supervised and in a safe area. Every child should have an official lesson before the age of 8. And in the Schenectady community, it is very hard for families to afford this. And at Front Street, I'm proud to say that we can give several children over the summer this opportunity to lead them into a lifelong sport and to make them stronger and to give them a safe place to be and grab a free lunch.
Thank you.
Thank you. Orrin Tucker?
Good afternoon, good evening. My name is Oran Tucker. I'm one of your residents of Schenectady. I run the president of Schenectady Basketball Club and the co-founder of Academics Athletics. I brought a few of my athletes and a few of my cheerleaders in our program. Schenectady Basketball has been running in the city for almost 25 years, and as someone stated earlier, we have been running, again, for 25 years, volunteer-based. What we've been able to do over the last couple of years is take some of our student athletes who've graduated from Schenectady High School, as far as individuals like James Thomas, Jason McCreef, Adonis Barber, Willie Dean, Mark Lyons, have all been able to contribute to helping this program be efficient. As you have in front of you, some of my young ladies and young boys, and all of them are just going to say what school they go to and their age and their name. Please say it.
Hi.
Just say your name.
Najri. Martin Luther King. Hi, Lanera. Martin Luther King. Hey, Ronnie. I go to Martin Luther King.
My name is Nino, and I go to Zoller. My name is Raymond, and I go to Hamilton.
I know a lot of people came here with a visual and I like to give you that visual of the kids that we actually impact each and every day. One story, one man that I wanted, he wasn't available to be with us, is a young Eddie Stanley who was killed 2 years ago. Motivated us to start academics and athletics. He was one of our student athletes. Eddie dealt with mental health issues as well, but during our basketball program, from him maturing, happening to see a social worker, ISP meeting, things of the nature, he was able to be one of the top athletes at Schenectady High School through our basketball program. And I wanted people to understand how important that was for us and our kids, and how important it is for our inner city kids, especially in Hamilton Hill, the Vale area, Steinman's Homes, as well as Mount Pleasant now as recent years. So we really try to reach our kids. We obviously don't have enough funding, enough to take care of everything, because we do with a lot of low-income housing, parents, single-parent homes. A lot of my parents work a lot, and a lot of my coaches are left coaching. I did have a few other kids here and a few other parents here to support us, but obviously time constraints had to lead them. But I want to just bring this out to you that we are here and we're very real about what we're trying to reach with our kids about. Not only that, we collaborated with the YMCA. We also collaborated with the Boys and Girls Club. We also work with Jerry Burrell by providing athletes and things of this nature to get other programs going. But I just want to want the council to take notice of what we're doing. We never, in the past, never had to ask for anything. So I just hope this is important, how tough it is for me and my program to ask, due to the fact of what we're dealing with in society today with our kids. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Amoy Cooper. Amoy Cooper. I'm not sure I'm pronouncing that right. Okay, good.
Good evening, Mayor McCarthy, Madam President, and our City Council members. My name is Omoye Cooper, and I'm here this evening to speak on behalf of the Hamilton Hill Arts Center. I'd like to start with giving you a little history about myself and the Arts Center. I've been associated with the Arts Center since 1970, when I came up here to go to SUNY Albany. And at SUNY Albany, I started an African dance company called the Burundi African Dance Company that stayed in existence for about 30 years. But at that time, that was the same time that Ms. Cunningham was starting the Arts Center. And I was brought by Sue Wilson Dean to meet Mrs. Cunningham. And they wanted to do an African dance company. Nobody knew African dance. And I was asked to assist with that, so I kind of became an ad hoc kind of artistic consultant for Moja, which is still performing today. We moved from, in the 80s, we moved from SUNY Albany, and we made our headquarters, the Burundi African Dance Company, at the Hamilton Hill Arts Center, where we continue to coexist with the Moja, work with the Moja. Later on, I actually became a board member, and I was a member of the board for many, many years. Got off the board, and last year, around February, I was asked if I would come on board as the executive director for the Arts Center. I was told that the Arts Center was experiencing some financial difficulties, so I knew it wouldn't be a six-figure job. But given my history with the Arts Center, that really wasn't an issue for me. I readily accepted. I came on board, and within a month, we had no money, and we had to lay off all the staff. So I say that to let you know that Mickey said earlier that we are limping along. We are actually crawling. We were able to maintain the summer camp program, and we did that with volunteers. That's staff and community volunteers. We continue to limp along, actually crawl along. People don't realize how close the Arts Center is to having to close its doors. And I'm not just talking about programs, I'm talking about being able to pay the bills to keep the building open. So, I mean, of all the good things that they've said about the Arts Center, I submit this to you, that the Arts Center is more than a safe haven. It's a life skills academy. It's an academy that provides role models, positive messages, encouragement, It helps our children develop self-esteem, self-pride. It is the creator of dreams of endless possibilities, and it's the beginning of a road to the successful and productive future for many of our children.
Ms. Cooper, I need you to summarize.
Yes, I'm finished.
Okay.
I just appeal to you to please consider increasing our funding so that we can keep our doors open. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Vicki Hurwitz.
Good evening, Mayor McCarthy, City Council members. I want to thank you for the opportunity to speak tonight about the 2015 Action Plan for the city's consolidated funding. I'm Vicki Hurwitz. I'm a local resident. And my reason for speaking tonight is to urge you to increase the funding for Better Neighborhoods Housing Counseling Program from the proposed $37,000 to the $54,000 they got last year. Recently, I had a young man come to my house to perform an energy audit. He loved my house and said he wanted to buy one just like it. He is 22 years old, in college, working, and engaged, busy, like most millennials, just getting started in life. When he said to me, "I don't know anything about buying a house," I was happy to be able to tell him about Better Neighborhoods' 3-part homebuyer education course and give him the agency's number. I knew he'd be in good hands. I've been a volunteer at Better Neighborhoods for the last 8 years, and during that time, I've been consistently impressed with the quality of service the agency provides to its clients. I think it is short-sighted to cut Better Neighborhoods funding for this program right now. The Daily Gazette just ran an article about the second return of the first-time homebuyer, noting this category of homebuyer makes up about 40% of purchasers nationally in a given year. The article also notes that millennials are more likely to buy a home than any other age group as rents are continuing to rise. We all know that this age group we just saw tonight is an important new demographic here in Schenectady. We all also know that the Mayor's Homes program is doing a good job of attracting new homeowners into Schenectady. The Better Neighborhoods Homebuyer Education course is a great tool for supporting this effort. Better Neighborhoods is the only HUD-certified counseling agency in Schenectady County. This guarantees that the counselors get ongoing, up-to-date training. Research has shown that clients who undergo pre-purchase counseling are 1/3 less likely to become 90 days delinquent in their mortgage payments. I just found out today that our Land Bank Disposition Committee has put in its policies that they can require first-time home buyers to go through a 3-part homebuyer education course, such as what Better Neighborhoods offers, should the buyer's circumstances warrant it. In other words, it's a way to, get these homeowners in shape so they can really be successful in purchasing the homes. So I feel that all of the above are robust reasons to not cut the agency's funding at this time. Thank you.
Thank you. Gloria Herman.
Good evening, everybody. Very familiar faces here. My name is Gloria Herman, and I thank you for the opportunity to be here tonight. I grew up in Colombia, and I remember when my mother purchased her first home. I was probably 5 years old, and I remember the happy face. She was basically like a single mom. She was married, but my father was very responsible and was not there to help her. So that's probably one of the reasons why I work for BNI 10 to 11 hours a week. And I can't tell you how happy that makes me. Really fills me up thinking that I'm able and willing to help families that need that service. Would you agree that cutting the funding for education in the city of Schenectady, teaching people how to purchase a house, how to do budgeting, how to talk to banks, how to take care of a property, it's very, very, very important. By cutting our funding, you basically are cutting our wings, and you're cutting the opportunity of these families to be able to be educated. Education should be one of the last things that you cut in the city of Schenectady, especially since you have so many houses that are vacant. You have so many families. None of you probably have the opportunity that I have every week to sit down with 3 or 4 or 5 families. 4 families? Let me tell you, most of them, maybe 40% of the families that come to see me are Latinos, and the rest are Black. Look at the locations in Schenectady where you have these vacant houses. And think about who are the people that are in need or are willing to purchase these houses. I'm a realtor for the last 9 years, and when I tell people that make $150,000 to $200,000 a year, you can buy in Schenectady. You're crazy? I'm not going to buy in Schenectady. The taxes are very high. But you have a pool of people in the city of Schenectady, Hamilton Hill, and the surrounding areas that are willing and are trying very, very hard to purchase these homes. You guys have these homes in the city of Schenectady, so let's make it happen. We are your marketing force here. We are helping you sell these houses. We are educating these families. Give us the means for that. We need more funding to do that. I think that every time I go by Nat Street and, State Street, and I see CDPHP billboard, I think, wow, how come we don't have one for BNI in the city of Schenectady? BNI and the city of Schenectady welcome you in the opportunity of owning your own house in Schenectady. We have the funding, we can help you, and we are here to help. We are your voice out there. You have the houses, and you have house counselors that are willing and able to help you. And I cannot tell you how wonderful many of these families are and how much in need they are of not spending their money every month paying somebody else's mortgage, but buying their own home and making their families a more healthy and happy families. Thank you very much for your opportunity, and I really hope that you really, really, really reconsider raising the funding, because it's very, very important. You have a lot of empty houses in Schenectady, and you have wonderful families. If you ever want to meet with one of those families, I
Please
have many
summarize.
of you to present. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, I have no one else signed up to speak on this public hearing. Is there anyone who neglected to sign up? Okay, please come up and tell us your name. Let him, Mary, he's coming first. This gentleman is coming first. This gentleman is coming first.
Thank you. Good evening, Madam President, City Council members, and Mayor McCarthy. You all have a very hard job. I recognize it sitting here for the first time. I'm glad I'm on this side of the podium because you have a very difficult position, certainly, as leaders in our city. So thank you for
tell
this.
us your name.
My name is John Scharf. I'm the Executive Director of Habitat for Humanity of Schenectady County. Thank you for this opportunity. As you know, Habitat works successfully in partnership with the City of Schenectady and the Capital Region Land Bank to help provide safe, decent, affordable housing to low-income, working-class families right here in Schenectady. To date, Habitat has helped 44 families achieve their dream of home ownership, all of which are first-time homeowners. Schenectady Habitat brings together volunteers, donors, corporate partners to build homes and strengthen the backbone of our community, which is what we're all here to do. Of those 44 homes I mentioned, all of them have returned to the city's tax rolls. In fact, I'm pleased to tell you in 2014, Schenectady Habitat paid more than $147,000 to the City of Schenectady and the Schenectady Central School District on behalf of our homeowners and our nonprofit organization. In 2015, we expect to pay more than $150,000 in taxes, and we're happy to do so. It's spring, it's construction season, and we have 5 more projects to accomplish this year. With your help, we can add 3 more houses to those 5. The Carrie Street Townhome construction project that we're seeking funding for will allow us to build 3 more townhomes on Carrie Street on land that will be donated by the Capital Region Land Bank. This project is modeled after the Capital District Habitat sites, successful townhome projects in Albany and Troy. You know them as Sheridan Hollow and Fox Hollow. Habitat for Humanity is requesting an increase in our home funding for this project. I want to share with you that our Habitat families are diverse, and the majority of them work right here in our community at Ellis Hospital, at Price Chopper. Our Habitat homeowners work at Stewart's and Schenectady County Community College, at MVP Healthcare, at Union College, on manufacturing lines here in the city, and at local banks and schools. Habitat makes the American dream of home ownership more affordable, accessible, and diverse. Habitat homeowners reduce the blight in our neighborhoods, and I also want to share that in addition to a 30-year mortgage with 0% interest, our Habitat homeowners enjoy reduced energy bills because of our homes are Energy Star certified, peace of mind knowing that their construction meets local and state codes, improved health. Habitat families have fewer incidents of obesity, asthma, and diabetes. Stability. Imagine no more moving from apartment to apartment. Imagine not having to change school districts anymore. That's what we provide for our families. I thank you for your consideration.
Thank
Have
you.
a good evening.
Mary McLean.
I didn't sign up because I didn't intend to speak, but I don't know about the rest of you. I have goosebumps. I'm just blown away by the stories I heard here tonight. I'm a product of a community center, and I had it all. And when I ran for city council in 2013, I was invited to the Boys and Girls Club. What an outstanding program in that building. There is no reason any child in the city of Schenectady could cause the mayhem that they caused, because I was there right after the incident at the high school at Mount Pleasant. All of those children need to be exposed to that program on Albany Street because it is the best that you can offer. It's just there's no excuse for anybody not to excel in the city of Schenectady. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Please.
My name is Reverend Emmanuel Adams. I've been a resident over 60 years in Schenectady, but I'm also part of the McTap board. I hear many things about individuals buying, affordable housing and things, but it's very hard to do that if you don't have a job. It's good that that is there, and I think many of these things were geared towards, in a sense, the middle class. But those are only working individuals. We have a lot of young people out there today that some may have dropped out of school or whatever, but they have no trades. They have no way of supporting themselves, and that's why we find so many that are wandering in the streets today. McTap is in a way that to help for them to become entrepreneurs or contractors or get into a trade to be supportive. It's one thing to always feed someone and therefore become adjusted to it, but it's always better for them to learn how to feed themselves. And therefore, I believe we have to give them some sort of skills that it may help themselves to get up. I'm pretty sure everyone that's sitting in this council here that came up through a trade or a job or a skill to support themselves before you got here. And that is the same mechanism that everybody needs, therefore they need these skills to help themselves. So McTap is there, even though we have come very short on funding, staffing has moved, but yet we have been trying to touch a lot of these young individuals that wanted to be contractors. They say they're contractors, but they're really not. They're really kind of semi-tradesmen, but because they lack the certificates and things that they need in order to bid for some of these jobs. But I really think we really need to get individuals working in the city, and the way we can do that is that some of them to find some sort of trade, even going through the apprentice courses and things. We have projects that are coming up, and that is coming up. We talked about the casino and things, the building, but who's going to build those? And therefore, if we have the opportunity to put those individuals in those positions to feed themselves, they must do that. Because as they go beyond some of the ages that they are now, doors close. I run into individuals where grandmothers are trying to put kids out of the house, and they're in their 30s, but they have no skills, have no ability. So I'm just saying that we need to keep some devices in here in order to prevent a lot of things from happening. We have too many young people out there that's walking and settling in the streets today. And I think that if we find a way to get some of them, even if a small percentage, therefore to get them trade, whatever, to be independent, therefore a lot of some of this may go away. So I'm really hoping that if we find some way that we may help the McTAP program, whatever, and help us work to get some of these individuals off the street, it'll be greatly appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? If not, one more person, please. Come on up.
I can do it now that everybody's gone. Hi, my name is Cynthia Jordan. I work for Better Neighborhoods as a part-time pre-purchase housing counselor. And I know we've talked a lot about it tonight, but I wanted you folks to know what we do as counselors is not just the group education and things like that. We offer one-on-one consultations where we see clients many, many times. Sometimes it takes us years to get from point A to point B being home ownership. The first thing we do when people come in is we pull their credit. We work on a budget. We figure out ways to find money within their budget so that they can address their credit issues, because 99% of people come in with major credit issues. They owe National Grid or $15,000. You wonder how can that happen? They have medical collections of $5,000, $6,000. These are huge obstacles when it comes to home ownership. So we get through all of that. Then we figure out how much of a house that they can afford based on their income and their debt ratios, things like that. So it's not just the group education, and it's not just they come in and see us once. We work with these people for years sometimes. And the joy, and I attend closings with people, and the joy in the families, it's just, it really, it uplifts me. It's a wonderful job, and I love my job. I love going to it every day. I'm very fortunate. So please keep the funding coming, okay? Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? If not, I'm going to declare the public hearing closed, and I want to thank everybody for taking the time to come down and speak. All right, we will move on to the approval of the minutes from April 13th, 2015. Mr. Riggi moves it, seconded by Mr. Mudavaran. All in favor? Aye. Communications and petitions.
Communications presented to the City Council for Monday, April 27th, 2015. From the Mayor, a list of appointments dated April 27th, 2015. A letter from William Winkler dated April 13th, 2015, recommending the contract for electronic waste recycling be awarded to Sun King. Under General, a letter from the Upper Union Street bid City Council Representative Madeline Thorne notifying the city of her resignation. Under petitions, there are none.
Thank you. Are there any committee reports? Yes, Ms. Porterfield.
Thank you, Madam President. I just wanted to report that the Recreation Advisory Commission, which is really not part of Health and Recreation, but we've been working with them, has started their inventory of the parks that they said they would schedule. So it started on the 21st, and so far there have been 5 parks that they've done the inventory of to take a look at the what's going on in the parks and what needs to happen. And I'm really pleased to say that it's going very well. They have a very aggressive schedule that they've planned, and they're moving forward with it. There were 3 planned for this past week, but because of the weather, they didn't do it on Monday.
I don't know.
That was in 3 minutes.
Yeah.
So. Oh, maybe so. And so they continue to do that. And I also want to commend the Recreation Advisory Commission because they're taking their job very seriously. They actually go out there, look at it, and I have video and pictures of them trying out the equipment. So that's all going to be part of the report when we're all finished with this. So I just want folks to know that they are coming to the parks all over the city, and we welcome people to come to when they're in their neighborhood. And if you want to know when they're going to be in your particular neighborhood, you can get in touch with the city and they can let you know. I can tell you that the parks that I've done so far are Steinmetz, Kaleberg, Carrie Street, and the South End Park. And a couple of parks I never even saw before. So it was kind of a good thing to be able to go out with them. And also Woodlawn Park. So the Recreation Advisory Commission is doing a great job, and we want to continue to work with them so that by the summer our parks are in shape that we want them to be in. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Any other committee reports? Mr. Riggi.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd just like to, as Chairman of the Claims Committee, recognize our Law Department, the Corporation Counsel's Office, and Deputy Corporation Counsel Ryan Bailey we had an excessive force notice of claim filed against the city, And by playing a little hardball and showing that we were going to take it to court, they decided to drop their notice of claim. So I think that's good. That's a heads up. That's a savings for us. And thank you for, holding the line and keeping these claims down. It's really important. Thank you.
Good. Thank you. Anyone else? If not, we'll move to privilege of the floor related to the legislative agenda. I have one person signed up to speak, and that's Jason Plank.
The one item is item number 1. This is a continuation from an item back in November the 26th that you'd done, and it's the $2.5 million for the roundabout. At that time, we had said that, that you needed to have in the contract minority participation, persons with disabilities, compliance with Section 503, and apprenticeship program. The corporate counsel come back and said, we don't need to hire minorities, we don't need to hire a person with disabilities, we don't need to have an apprenticeship program, we don't need to adjust the contract. And you guys went ahead and approved it, $2.5 million worth of federal money. Tonight you're approving another $600,000 to about $3.4 million of complete federal money. Again, you did not even rechange the contract to reflect to make sure that minority participation, person with disabilities, compliance with 503, and apprenticeship program is put in place. Again, this is an oversight. We need to create jobs within the city of Schenectady. We need to create jobs that are for the minority participation. And this is a tantamount to legal malfeasance by the city attorney. This is a federal law. It's been in effect, 503 has been in effect since 1978. The affirmative action just had its 50th anniversary of Title VII just last year. It'll be 51. Americans with Disabilities Act will have its 25th anniversary July the 26th of this year. I mean, these are programs that have already been in effect, and we just can't keep ignoring them. And that's exactly what's happening, and we need to reinvigorate these programs. Thank you.
Thank you. I have no one else to speak to the legislative agenda. I'll declare that closed and entertain a motion to approve the legislative agenda. Mr. Riggi, seconded by Mr. Kosher. All in favor? Aye. We'll now move to privilege of the floor regarding city business. I have 10 people signed up to speak. Anthony Carrata.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, City Council. This being your election year, you think that the people of the city will vote for you to continue your reign of terror as mayor. I don't think so. Here are some facts as I see as a resident of the city of Schenectady. Fact 1. Crime, as you said in January during the State of City address, the crime was down. The truth, crime ain't down. A domestic disturbance call that the cops went to turned into a stabbing incident. Then you had someone fall out of a second-story window on 780 State Street. Then recently, over in the Unit College area, you had a bunch of drug dealers from the Saratoga area who were seeing a drug dealer. The drug dealer then had some drug supplies for them, so they decided to what? Break in a bunch of people's cars and businesses. Fact 2, the whole mess during winter, where you didn't have the decency to declare snow emergency or tell residents to park on one side of the street so plows can go plow the streets. They weren't even plowed right. Thing is that the good people of the city are getting ticketed because you didn't have a decency, Mayor, to sell.
Please address me as the president.
Don't be trying to shush me, Peggy King. This is truth that the city needs to hear. Don't try to shush me.
I'm not asking you to be quiet. I'm just asking you to address your comments to me rather than directly to the mayor.
All right, let me finish here.
Okay.
The good people of the city are getting ticketed and trying to get out of it because the thing is, the mayor didn't declare a thing of where, certain hours is the street. Fact 3, ever since the legacy of the casino, small businesses have been hurting to stay afloat. One of them I know is the Memphis King. Thing is, they can go to the bank to get a loan, but that takes months on end. Thing is that they have to go to, the fact is, and the truth is, that they have to go to some community loan program on Upper Albany Street just to stay afloat. They can't go to Metroplex because Metroplex does multi-billion-dollar businesses to stay afloat. What's up with that? Fact 4, while you, Mayor, have issued sky-high taxes for people in the city that live in here, let it be a couple or family, that they have to pay the taxes. It's come to light that certain city council members have referred to pay the taxes. Now, if we taxpayers are late, we get penalized. How come certain city council members don't get penalized? Fact 5, the curfew that I mentioned 2 weeks ago, the 9:30, how about 10 o'clock for anybody under 18 to go off the street? And I think this will help curb crime. That thing about the convenience hours, stores, that ain't going to cut it. Thank you.
Thank you. Joe Rodriguez. No? Okay, Jason Plank.
Madam President, City Council, Mayor. Also, in the first part of May is home grievance. I'm urging every city homeowner aggrieve your property tax assessments. This City Council, over the last 2 to 3 years, have given contractors, developers, and business owners anywhere between 25 to 50% off of their home assessment of their businesses. We need a reassessment within the city. So I'm hoping that people will start doing more, because if there are more homeowners do assessments, then eventually the city's going to have to be able to go back in and redo assessments. Also, too, Madam President, if you can let the mayor in his office know, on Watt Street, I mean, there are Grand Canyons in the road. On Greeley, right in front of Home Depot, there are holes. I mean, a semi-truck could fall in, too. On Greeley and Jackson Avenue, you've got some water main pieces that are just crumbling. The asphalt's crumbling through, and that intersection is crumbling through. Along Jackson Avenue, just before you get to Westminster, there are cracks right in the center, and even one of the manholes are about to fall in. On Westminster, which is the alley, which is the trucks, garbage trucks drive in, there's big, huge holes there also. On our Watt Street, right in front of Dunkin' Donuts and Starbucks, like I said, there's holes all over the whole entire pavement. You know, they said to put you on notice, so hopefully I'm putting you guys on notice that these have got to be done. I mean, this whole entire section of it. You've got the high school that's right there, you know, and I mean, we have a truck driver that is parking just opposite of Home Depot. And you can see where the entire indentions of where he's parking and everything else. Sometimes it's a Walmart truck, sometimes it's a Target, so it's an independent truck driver that's bringing the trucks in. So hopefully we can be able to get this resolved. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's see. It's Michael, and I'm having trouble reading the last name on River Street. Michael, are you here? Okay. And is it Lohan on Euclid Avenue? No. Okay. Pardon? Could be.
Euclid Avenue, not yet. Hello, Mayor, City Council. My name is Norman Koopman. I've been living at Euclid Avenue for all my life and been employed and doing business in the city of Schenectady for over 60 years with a family business. I'm here to talk about the roads. I know you've heard about everything about roads every day, but first thing is I want to get to the miscellaneous part of the roads. We have two problems down near Euclid Avenue. It's right near where your grandmother lived. You filled in one hole, but you have two going towards Gilwin that are dipping. And if that's going to be a problem down the road, because these people will run over that hole, and must have been gas leaks or water main breaks, but they have to be. One was patched, hot patched in front of. It was right near your grandmother's house. And that stayed, but going down the road, there's two. As soon as you come off of Gilwin Avenue, and then there's another one right where Jackie Hurd lives. They're dipping, Okay. Second thing, miscellaneous, is Hegeman Street and Gilland Avenue, Mayor. There's a problem, or Council, there's a problem there with a blind side. When you're coming down Hegeman Street to go to the other part of Hegeman Street, you have Gilland in front of you. You have people that are parking on the left side of that road, and you can't see the traffic coming towards Four Corners. It's a blind spot. One day I went to Price Chopper cutting through Hegeman Street, and I come back, and there's a big accident because of that blind spot. You can't see that traffic coming there. Maybe these people could park on Hegeman Street, on the other side of Hegeman Street. Maybe they can do that, but you shouldn't put any parking. There shouldn't be any parking there because it's such a dangerous spot. Okay, now to the good stuff. I read in the paper that, you know, some of the roads that are going to be repaved, and I noticed some roads that don't need repaving. And that comes to my problem with, it's a long stretch. It's called Helderberg Avenue. Helderberg Avenue has been like that for many years since the Sheltingham Bridge has closed. So that puts a lot of pressure on Helderberg Avenue because people have to go to Altamont Avenue to get to maybe Chrysler Avenue, to go to Price Right, Aldi's, or whatever, Home Depot. That road will not last. We're lucky if it lasts another year with the bridge closed, the Sheltingham Avenue Bridge closed. And vehicles will be damage from that. It's just a constant bounce, and on some parts of that road there are potholes. It is just a terrible road. We're lucky if we get another winter out of that road. All right. Now there's other roads, Weaver Street in front of, not Weaver Street, Edison Avenue in front of the GE main gate, which is a terrible road. Maybe, Ms. Perazzo, since you live on Thompson Street, you could check out Phillips Street. Phillips Street is a forgotten street in Bellevue. There's only two places on Phillips Street that are residents. One where I call it the Panica House because I'm from growing up, and then you have B&B Roofing.
I need you to summarize. Your time is up.
Okay, all right, but that is the other problem. And quickly, Broadway, maybe you could lower the speed limit on Broadway to make it last, because I know Broadway is on the list. You can make it last, maybe if you lower the speed limit. There's not one speed limit sign on Broadway. I checked it today going from Bellevue Reformed Church all the way down to the Town and Rotterdam line. I'll summarize very quickly. There's not one speed limit sign on that road. Maybe if you could lower the speed limit to 25, because there are businesses there are two-family houses, there are kids playing on that road. Maybe you could put slow down children playing, all right?
Okay.
But
please, your time is up.
I know. To make it last, maybe you should slow down the speed limit and limit the weight limit on the trucks or the size of the trucks that could go Broadway. Thank you.
Thank you. Vicki Hurwitz.
Good evening, Madam President, City Council. Vicki Hurwitz, local resident. I'm up here just to talk again about potholes. Marva Isaacs had asked me to speak tonight about some potholes in Hamilton Hill because she couldn't be here. She was at an awards dinner. I won't belabor the point since we all know there are potholes. I have some pictures of one pothole at Emmett and Kleinman. There's several on that intersection. I was there about 11:30 this morning, and I drove over one very slowly. And if I'd hit it at speed, I would have had to call a tow truck. And I know Marva has called twice about these potholes, and nothing's been done. I also understand there's a meeting tomorrow night about potholes, so maybe somebody on the council could announce that. I didn't know about it, but my seatmate, Deb Bombas, just told me. So I just want to hand out the pictures, and hopefully these can be fixed before somebody has a bad problem with their car. Thank you.
Thank you. John Palomeni.
Mayor, Madam President, Council. Tonight I had an opportunity to go to a very special event, the Women of Distinction put on by Assemblyman Santa Barbara. In particular, two residents of our city, or two active people in our city, I should say, Mrs. Marva Isaacs and Ms. Cora Schroeder were honored. As we all know, they're very active in our community, and I thought it was important to speak and just acknowledge that these two wonderful ladies were acknowledged for the great work that they do in our city. Secondly, I'd like to commend the mayor for his work on the zombie houses. As we all know, this is a very important issue in our city, particularly dealing with quality of life and neighborhood revitalization. If we really want to encourage economic growth, building our tax base, and improving our quality of life, we need to really deal with these issues. And I wholeheartedly support the legislation, and I would encourage anybody who is really interested in neighborhood revitalization to do so as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Reverend Al Tompkins, I think what he was going to speak about has already been addressed. Mary McLean. No? She's gone? Okay. Mel Mintz.
I wanted to be the last one. Mayor, Madam President, City Council, public that is here, public watching. What I was originally going to speak about, I changed my mind, and I'll bore you at another City Council meeting, so you'll have something to look forward to. In listening to all these organizations coming before you, I can't stop this from thinking and coming up with some ideas and suggestions, and possibly you've done some of these things. But what I would like to see, if you haven't, and you've got a full plate, I know, and many things to do, and you don't need other ideas and work. But if someone could put together all these organizations on a list that have come before you as the first step. Second step would be, in my mind, if you can get the, let's call them CEOs or the heads of all the groups into one general meeting of how and what they're doing to see where there's overlapping or where they can cooperate more with each other. This is an idea I've had years ago when I did have my business downtown and trying to get the not-for-profit heads together to see, because I saw a lot of repetition going on and not as many people being served or youngsters being served that could be. The third thing would be then taking this list and maybe at some point publicizing it and who and where people could make donations to. And I was thinking if the city would consider accepting some kind of donations for each one of these lists and then disseminating it to those organizations. It's another problem for you and another burden, and maybe that wouldn't be the answer. But there is money out there, I feel, from individuals and things who would like to donate if it could be clearly identified to the general public what each organization does and how it interacts into the city as a whole. I think there needs to be more coordination, not necessarily for you to do it, but you have the ability to contact someone who has that ability to put this more together. All these groups, there's many groups, and some have mentioned they didn't know about the other group or didn't know what they were doing, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. As I said, I think there's a lot of youth that is not being served or being looked at to try to get them involved in some of these groups. They don't have an understanding of what these groups do, where they are, how to contact them, and you need some way to get into the neighborhoods to seek out some youth in the schools, and I think you have to bring more people together into one kind of a meeting, maybe once every 2 months or whatever, but there needs to be more coordination from what I was listening to as an outsider here. Thank you.
Thank you. I have no one else signed up, so I'm going to declare this portion of the meeting closed. We'll move to miscellaneous business of the council. Mr. Kosher.
And thank you, everybody who was here this evening. Certainly the topic was all about engaging youth and youth activities. So keeping on that topic, the Schenectady County Job Training Agency, we have extended our deadline for summer youth employment applications. They're now being accepted till May 12th. And the county legislature tomorrow is receiving additional funding for another 100 jobs. So there'll be about 300 plus jobs in the entire county that'll be available to our youth, ages 14 to 20. The application, I dropped some applications off downstairs in our lobby. They're also available online at the SchenectadyCounty.com website. And also on Thursday, we're going to be making an appearance at Schenectady County Community College from 10 a.m. until 12 noon. We're going to be trying to recruit some of our older youth, our 18 to 20-year-olds, who some of our jobs involve operating machinery, landscaping, the dog licenses that we're talking about, Town of Nisk Unity, some folks on their road repairs, and we were just short of young men and women between the ages of 18 and 20. So we're going to go down with former Councilwoman Denise Brucker to set up a table at the community college, and we just thought of a nice way of recruiting. So again, we'll be there as well this weekend. And one final piece, and I see Kathy Lewis is here from the school district board president. The Schenectady City School District, believe it or not, is looking for paraprofessionals and teachers' aides. There's an application online that's due by this Wednesday, April 29th, and there was a big ad in the Gazette Sunday, and that's how I happened to see it. And it's quite simple. You just need a high school diploma or GED. And again, they're taking the applications until April 29th. So please, if you're interested in that, contact the Schenectady City School District and go to their website. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Ms. Porterfield.
Thank you, Madam President. I also want to say thank you to everyone that came down tonight. We heard some really compelling stories, and so as a council, we definitely have a difficult job in looking at the CDBG allocations. There was one thing that was really resounding, and that was about the youth, and I think it is really extremely important that we support our youth. They are our future, and so it is important that we do as much as we can to try to make sure that they have someplace safe to go and also have affordable housing. So we're going to have to figure all of this out. I'd like to say thank you to the mayor for having the press conference today to support the Attorney General's Abandoned Property Neighborhood Relief Act. I was able to be at the press conference, and I can tell you that you left a very happy neighborhood there to know that something is getting started. So I'm looking forward to that moving forward throughout the city so that, we can just move forward in all the wonderful things and revitalizations of the communities throughout all parts of the city. I'd like to announce that this Saturday is I Love My Schenectady Park Day. It's going to begin at 8 a.m. for those ambitious people, and will end at 4 p.m. There are a few parks, and I'll name them that are listed. Central Park, Jerry Burrell Park, Steinmetz Park, Riverside Park, Wallingford Park, 10th and Webster Park, Hillhurst Park, and Woodlawn Park. So for folks who want more information, they can sign up at the city's website, cityofschenectady.com/I love my park, I love my parks with an S.html. I did receive an email from two neighborhoods, so to let you know that the Hillhurst Park will be there from 10 to 3. Jackie Hurd wants folks to know that. And Jerry Burrell Park will start at 10 a.m. until there's no end time. So again, folks who want to come out, I believe the weather's going to be a lot better on Saturday than it has been. No snowflakes. So it's I Love My Park Day. Let's all get out there and do some work in our parks in our respective neighborhoods. For those who don't have a park in your neighborhood, I welcome you to come to Jerry Burrell Park. I'll be there. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay. Mr. Mayor?
Thank you, Madam President. I want to thank the council for the resolutions tonight in support of the zombie property bill, the option for health care, consolidation at the county level for efficient lighting, state level, and also supporting that application for a microgrid proposal within the city of Schenectady. As Councilmember Porterfield pointed out, this Saturday we're going to try and do some things in the parks, get them cleaned up a little bit, and hopefully the weather will break and it will actually be the beginning of a pleasant spring rolling into a very nice summer. I want to thank everyone who came out tonight. Appreciate their input. The CDBG money makes a big difference in so many programs and so many organizations. And that, of course, in Washington, Congress has been cutting that back, and this year, again, we're dealing with more reductions from last year, so it makes it more difficult to make those hard choices. So I appreciate the council's deliberations and consideration on that, and look forward to working with you on the final package. Thank you, Madam President.
On that note, I will entertain a motion to adjourn. Mr. Kosher, second by Mr. Mudavaran. All in favor? Aye. We are adjourned.